Dry aged steak at a restaurant is gonna cost you 200 bones. I'm donating plasma and a little dignity on the side kind of money. For that price, the cow better come out, introduce itself, shake my hand, give a toast, and then dance on the bar like it's closing time at the Coyote Ugly. Restaurant steak ain't no damn wedding ring. I'll buy a whole strip loin, throw it in the cooler, let it get funkier than a Kid Rock's hot tub, and then eat it in my sweatpants with a good burger. Hey, I'm Joe, this is Fork Endeavors. It's my barbecue channel that takes a little bit of bourbon, mixes it with fire, and jokes that are filthier than a Waffle House floor at 3 a.m. Today, we're gonna be dry aging a whole strip loin. And the whole thing cost me about 200 bucks. And a restaurant's gonna charge you that for one steak. One damn steak. That's not dinner. That's a stick up with a side of mashed potatoes. So instead of wasting our money at a steak restaurant, I'm gonna show you how to take the whole strip loin, toss it into a cooler, and dry age it for 28 days. And then we're gonna make restaurant luxury right here at home using the Weber Smokey Mountain. And if you want the recipe, the show notes, giveaways, all that other extra shit, hit up my Patreon. The link is in the description. Now let's mummify this strip loin so we can bring it back to life. Now, I started looking for dry aging cabinets a while back. I quickly realized though, they cost more than my fucking mortgage. We're talking about selling a kidney. You know, like how long can I live with one kidney kind of money? So I stopped looking. Then, as luck would have it, a man named Marshall, who owns a small business called Tablesmith, who lives in Texas, reached out to me. Now, Marshall is a one-man shop working out of his garage like Doc Brown from Back to the Future. But instead of time machines, he's making shit like this. Now this thing's called the CELR-12, and Marshall and his company Tablesmith are going to sponsor the prep segment for this video. I mean, cause let's face it, I couldn't dry age this strip loin without it. Now what this thing does is it takes a regular cooler, turns it into a dry ager, a hot hold, you can make charcuterie, cheeses, jerky, you name it. The way I've been using it is I've been taking a whole chicken, placing it in the cooler with this thing, and it's dry brining it. Makes for very crispy skin. I've been dry brining my steaks with it. I've even done a hot hold for a pork shoulder with it. But today, we're gonna be dry aging a whole strip loin. Now, let me be completely honest with you all. I don't usually do product integrated videos. This is not a review channel. It never will be. I don't think those come off as genuine. They come off fake. And honestly, I don't need these companies' money. I'd rather take products that I actually use and maybe do mid-roll ads for them or do brand shout outs. But at the end of the day, I need to stay authentic, and that's what's most important. With Marshall and his company and this product that he's making, I mean, I feel compelled to do a little bit more for him by doing a brand shout out and using this naturally in a video. Because to be honest with you, there's nothing on the market like this thing. Go ahead, Google it, try it, there's nothing. The thing is extremely versatile. I don't have to sell a kidney to buy the damn thing. And I don't have to explain to my wife why there is a $3,000 refrigerator in my garage that she's not allowed to touch. And at the end of the day, I'm not always dry aging something, you know, so I don't want to dedicate a footprint to a refrigerator. So look, go check it out. The link is in the description. Marshall's a good dude. He gives you a 100-day trial with it. So if you don't like it, he gives you your money back, you know, no problems. And I'm always down to support a man in his garage with a dream. I mean, that's something I can relate to. Speaking of, hit the like button and subscribe. Now let me show you how we're gonna use this thing to dry age this strip loin. I think that the New York strip is perfect for dry aging, especially if it's your first time. One is unlike ribeye or other meats, this doesn't have nearly as many seams, so you have less, you know, loss when you're trimming it. It has this really nice big fat cap here that's going to protect the meat as it dry ages. And you know, ribeye was almost $400 for the same amount, you know? So this is a lot cheaper. And at the end of the day, this is my wife's favorite cut of steak. So that's pretty much all the reason I needed. This whole thing won't fit in there. You know, if you have a bigger cooler, it will. But what you really wanna do is if there's like any gnarly hanging meat, you can cut it off, but we actually want as much fat on there as possible to protect the meat when we're dry aging it. I'd say right there is probably about the size that I want to put in that cooler. So let me cut this as perfectly as I can. I ain't mad at it. So now that we have this cut to size, I'll show you how we use that CELR-12. First thing I like to do, take a tray, put it in the bottom, take a wire rack, place it in there as well. So this is what actually goes into the cooler. Now there's a piece that comes with it right here. I've mounted it onto the side of my cooler. It uses a sticky back. And then this will mount right onto that. I'm not gonna be going through every step of how to use this thing, but essentially, like, this thing doesn't control the humidity. It monitors the humidity in a closed system, which is the cooler. This is considered the drip tray, right? This thing has water in it. It'll drip into this. Now, you'll use this to increase or decrease humidity. If you have these vents outwards, you'll get more humidity. If you have them inwards, you'll get less. Put that in there. I'll link a video in the description that shows you more detailed step-by-step how to use this. But these here are gonna go through your drain on one side, so you need to be able to remove that. And then these are meant to be a tight squeeze. So we run those through and then mount this on the side. Pretty easy. Let's shut this just for now while I show you the rest of this. Next, what you'll wanna do, take a drink of bourbon, and then these pieces right here will be connected right here. My eyeballs are terrible. I'm seeing 3 of everything. I wonder why that is. We got these big ass sausage fingers. There we go. Boom. Right, so let me plug this up. So we've got it plugged up. Once it's plugged up, what you can do is start setting your temperature. This knob here is all you need. You want about probably 34 to 38 for dry aging. So I like to go on the lower end. And if you wait a minute here, it's showing you the humidity is 75. You want the humidity between 75 and 85. And like I said, over the next month after you put the meat in here, you'll have to adjust that here and there by adding a little bit more water to it if you want. But mostly from the times I've used it, it's set it and forget it. Okay, let's throw the meat up in here. Best practice is to let this thing do its work for, I don't know, probably 12 hours or so. I know that's Marshall's recommendation. But because I'm showing y'all how to use it, we're gonna go ahead and throw it in here. So we'll set it right there. Make sure the meat's not touching the walls or anything, and you'll be good to go. What I'm gonna do over the next 28 days is rotate this thing. I'll probably do it every few days, but like I said, I don't have to check this thing very often. So I guess that's it. I'm gonna cut this other part of this New York strip up and grill me and the wife some steaks. And I will see you in 28 days, maybe a little more sober. Good morning. Been 28 days. No bourbon today, just coffee. It's too early in the morning. All right, that's what it looks like after 28 days in the cooler. I think that it came out pretty phenomenal. You know, I've not really dry aged anything before, but the CELR-12 made that process super easy. So what I did about every 3-4 days is I rotated this thing, kind of wanted it to dry out evenly. And you know, it looks pretty perfect. The way the CELR-12 works is once you set that temperature, it's gonna make sure that the cooler stays that temperature, and it's gonna circulate air through it, right? So that it keeps the air moving. So it gets a really even dry aging process throughout the whole thing. This thing was mostly set it and forget it, other than moving it around, you know? But what we're looking for here, now, taken from somebody that hasn't dry aged a lot of stuff, but I've done my research. It smells great, really nutty, not funky or rancid. We don't see any really bad mold, no wet spots. Yeah, so you just wanna make sure you got that really nice dark, you know, bark on it. You can push it and it gives a little bit, so it means the inside, you know, is still good. So that's a good sign. Now, I brought out quite a few knives. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm not a butcher. So I'm gonna do my best cutting this thing as evenly as possible, and we're gonna get inside of it and see what it looks like. So people who are much better with knives than I am, you know, they'll trim this bark off or they'll cut it down the center. That's really for a hero shot. What I really wanna do is cut off the end piece here, and that way I can go ahead and cut these into steak slices, and then I'll clean up the edges. For me personally, if you're not great with a knife, that's probably the best way to do it. So let's go ahead and cut just a thin layer. Look at that, motherfucker. It ain't wanting to do nothing, is it? Now that outer bark is a little tough at first, but once you get into it, we're good. So this here is the pellicle. They say you can render this down, use the fat from it. We'll give it a test. I'm not gonna do that today, but we'll give it a shot. Let me break into the other side now, because it's easier to take these ends off now than it would be later when I get down to a single steak on this side. Oh yeah, that looks great. Got some fat here that we'll actually end up trimming off. So let's go ahead and start cutting our steaks. What I'm gonna do is measure with this knife here so I can get even cuts. I want about 1.5 inches if I can. Oh yeah, that's gonna look good. If I go to the butcher and get it, that's gonna cost me a lot of money. If I go to a steakhouse, it's gonna cost even more money. This right here turned into a little side hustle. Start charging people to dry age their beef. Come on now. I'll tell you what, I might need to buy some goddamn knives. You know what's sad is I watched the bearded butchers last night cut these up. They made that shit look easy. Got a damn hillbilly over here trying to cut this shit up. There we go. Not too bad, not too bad. You don't mind all the heavy breathing when I start setting this shit to the side. You know, I probably need to buy a knife that's actually used for this shit. This knife here is a piece of shit that I bought off Amazon. And when you first buy them, they're sharp. I've used a whetstone on it. I've used it all, and the shit just gets so dull. And it's meant for brisket that's fucking, you know, falling apart anyway. So, but it helps me get a little bit more of an even cut, assuming it can cut. Okay. Now look here, this piece here I'm gonna trim up. It's uneven as a motherfucker, but that's okay. We'll use it, we'll use it. Now let's see what we got here. Let's see, what this cost me right here. It was a $200 loin. I already cut a few steaks off of it because it wouldn't fit in that cooler. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 steaks that would probably cost you at least $50 a piece, depending on what they're selling it per pound at the butcher. And at the steakhouse, I mean, 150, 200. But yeah, we need to clean up the edges of these. What I wanna do is try to get as much of this pellicle off, well, I wanna get it all off, without losing as much steak as possible. So what I'll start with is the fat here, and we'll get that right along the edge there, which is fine because my wife don't actually like the fat cap. I would've cut that off whether I dry aged it or not. Looking good, looking good. Go around, make sure I got all of the dark spots off. And there we go. Pretty good looking steak, if I do say so myself. I'm gonna do that to the rest of these. I'm not gonna have you watch me do it because that would be pretty unbearable. So give me about 10 minutes. Well, I was a little optimistic with the 10 minutes. It took closer to 20 minutes. But I think that I've come out here looking pretty good. I've got some good looking steaks here. Now look, I didn't have a whole lot of loss. If you're better with a knife, you're gonna have a lot less loss than me. So what we need to do next is we're actually gonna cook a couple of these. I'm gonna probably vacuum seal a lot of these because I'm not eating $400 worth of steaks today. So I'm gonna pick out 2 or 3 of the best looking ones, and we're gonna be reverse searing these on a smoker. I'm using a Weber Smokey Mountain. This video is less about how we're cooking these and more about the dry aging process. But the reason I like to reverse sear them is because the texture is already pretty dry, which means it conducts heat a lot more efficiently than, you know, if it was still full of moisture when you first buy it. So because it conducts heat more efficiently, you know, you have a chance of overcooking it when you throw it on a hot skillet. You know, if you're really good, you don't have to worry about it. But, you know, I like reverse searing it on the smoker also because the flavors of this dry aged steak is pretty complex, and I like adding a little bit of subtle smoke to it. You know, just adds to it. It pairs perfectly with that nutty, funky flavor. And also, more importantly, it gives you full control over the internal temperature. I can slowly bring this up to about 115, let it rest while I set the Weber Smokey Mountain up to grill, sear it off, throw a little pat of butter on it, boom, it's ready to go. Simple, easy peasy. lemon squeezy. If you fuck that up, you definitely don't need to be dry aging steak. I'm not gonna salt these right now. I'm gonna wait until right before I put it on because I don't wanna put that salt on there and let it draw any moisture out. I want it to go on there a little bit dry, so I'll salt it right before I put it on the smoker. So let's go. All right, so what we're gonna do with the Weber Smoky Mountain is we wanna run it about 225 to 250. I don't wanna go over 250 because the lower the temperature, the more control you're gonna have over the internal temperature of that steak. So we just wanna slowly bring it up to 225. The way that I do that is I put me some charcoal in the bottom of the smoker. I use about 1.5 unlit chimney full of charcoal, put that in the bottom. Then I only light about 4 or 5 total briquettes. Get those lit, toss those on there as well. And what I like to use is cherry wood. You can use any wood you want. I don't wanna go with too strong of a smoke, but I don't want something so subtle that I've wasted my time smoking it. So what you wanna do is on the bottom, close off all the vents except one, and we wanna leave it open about as much as a pencil, like the head of a pencil, like a 1/4 inch maybe. Then the top vent, we wanna close it down till it's only about halfway open. It's gonna take a little while to get that temperature up, but once you get your smoker about 225 and you've noticed that it's stabilized, you can go ahead, throw your steaks on. And we're gonna smoke those until they're 115 degrees internal temperature. Then we're gonna take them off the heat, let them rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And we're gonna set up the Weber Smoky Mountain to grill. The way that we do that is we take off the cooking chamber, take the grate, put it right over top of the coal. You might have to add more coal. You know, it depends on how much charcoal you used in the beginning, but get those coals burning super hot. Because when we throw that steak on those coals, we want it to sear quickly. Put you a beautiful sear on, take it inside, let it rest, maybe throw you some butter on top of it. You're ready to go. All right, that did not take long at all. What I did notice is they did cook a lot faster than steaks that you just cut down and cook that are, you know, haven't been dry aged. I did smoke it between 225 and 250, pretty much kept around that temperature the whole time. And they usually take, at this thickness, over an hour. But I would say these cooked, you know, about 45 minutes. Now I did let these come up to room temperature before putting them on the smoker. So they do have that nice cherry or mahogany color. I also noticed that the sear was really quick, and also probably due to the dry aging. I'm excited to cut into this and give it a try. Now I'm expecting this to be a medium rare, cuts like butter. Here you go. I'd say it's a tad over medium rare. You know, it's close. It's probing about 125, 130, but that looks perfect. My wife will eat that. She doesn't like it too rare either. So let's give this a try. The smoke, the smell, wonderful. Hey now, damn. That's crazy, man. That's so, I wouldn't say it's not funky, but it has like the nice, it's like concentrated beef flavor. Like what you would expect MSG to do, you know, to beef. That's kind of what I'm getting. That's insane. That's phenomenal. Wow, I got a lot more steak to do something with. I'm trying to figure it out. I wasn't sure what to expect with that flavor. I've never dry aged anything, and I don't eat a lot of dry aged beef. I always felt like the price was way too ridiculous. But with that, at CELR-12 and going out, I'll buy a strip loin, $200, dry age it. I didn't have that much waste. I would say probably I got about 65 to 70%. And that's because I wasn't 100% sure, you know, what all I should cut off and what I should. If you're better with a knife and more comfortable dry aging, you'll probably get less. This steak right here aged better than most people I went to high school with. And it did it quietly, without a Facebook meltdown. I mean, this only took 28 days to give this steak a promotion, so it could start drinking top shelf bourbon. And I didn't need a $2,000 refrigerator. I just needed a CELR-12 and a cooler. Now, there is a link down in the description of this video. If you want to go ahead and get one of these CELR-12s, you know, go and support a man in his garage with a dream. Oh, and speaking of, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, of course. If not, why the fuck are you still here? But you can reverse sear these, and I think the reverse sear for a dry aged steak, motherfucking the weed eater, man, what are you doing, bro? Concentration of, overexposed, yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, you can get a lot better.
scoot over. No, you can stay in here. But look how much fucking overexposed I am.
What does that mean?
I'm white. What do you mean? What does it mean?
Like my colors, or you can see them better?
Well, yeah, look at you.
Yeah, you know what they say, I'm a fucking beast.
You have most of
I'm
the
made,
color
I'm
in that
like,
wall.
I'm like made for YouTube, man. I'm like made for it. Oh, yeah. You know, it's like, we're like the Apple dudes. Like, what's that? I'm like Steve Ross. What's the other dude?
You talking about Steve Wozniak?
Steve Wozniak, yeah.
God damn.
I wonder why that name